It's that time of year again, and it's almost over. It always sucks because you feel like Christmas is just getting started, and then it's like, boom, Christmas Eve. As I said in the last video, I love this time of year, but probably my favorite thing about the Christmas season has to be the music. See, I have an extremely weird taste in music, scratch that, a very broad taste in music. I am the epitome of the phrase, I like the way it sounds. My regular playlist consists of music from the 30s and 40s all the way up to modern day, spanning from classical jazz, pop, country, rock, you fucking name it. I also enjoy classical musicians from time to time like Mozart and Beethoven. And of course, with the amount of games that I own and the fraction of which I've actually played, I have grown an extreme liking to much of the music within them. Obvious highlights being Super Mario Galaxies 1 and 2, Earthbound, Undertale, and the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy, just to name a few. Now, my infatuation with Christmas music is something I've held onto since I was very young, particularly when it comes to some of the older, more classical renditions of these songs. Andy Williams, Nat King Cole, Sinatra, and of course Bing Crosby are all names that immediately come to mind. Obviously, I'm not here to talk to you about the Christmas classics, rather an interesting phenomena that I began to encounter about a year or two ago. Video game Christmas music is a fascinating subject to me because of how subjective it can really be. But what actually defines a game track as being specifically a Christmas one? Although it's mainly up to personal preference, typically all of these tracks have one thing in common: the types of levels they appear in. I'm sure we're all aware that most of the tracks I'll be discussing are a part of levels that have snow and ice to some capacity. The fabled snow area or levels are prime candidates for video game Christmas music because they both share the snow and winter themes. No fucking shit. But for me, there really is a distinction to be made between the standard winter-esque tune and a Christmas one. That's where the difficulty in defining what is and isn't a video game Christmas song comes into play. See, for regular music, it's pretty easy to recognize that, oh, this one's about Christmas. There's mentions of snow, lights, reindeer, presents, Santa, Jesus, and, you know, the actual fucking holiday, and of course there's a bunch of other consistent themes presented throughout the lyrics. That's how you're able to have Christmas songs by Run DMC and Tom Petty. It's so much easier to convey that feeling of Christmas through words, but as we all know, game soundtracks are severely lacking in words. I mean, no shit, it's supposed to be background noise to supplement the game itself, but alas, many of the classics can also be played without the words and still be recognized as especially Christmas music, except Waltz of the Flowers, which I will forever associate with Batman 89. For me personally, I have been able to separate a bunch of these themes into three distinct categories. You have your average run-of-the-mill snow level songs, otherwise known as fuck no, hit or miss, and, you know, actual video game Christmas music. Now, for some fucking reason, Frappe Snowland and Snowball Park are always the top songs played on those stupid-ass Nintendo Christmas playlists. Like, they are the epitome of the basic-ass snow level song, especially Snowball Park. Now, I will concede that there is a jazz remix of Frappe Snowland out there that could probably lift it up to hit or miss, but the original track from Mario Kart 64 comes nowhere close. Honestly, that's just the kind of vibe that this section gives off. Sure, you have some songs that have a slight resemblance to Christmas music, like the aforementioned Snowball Park. In fact, a lot of the Kirby snow level themes fall into this category where they may have a few notes that get you like this, but as far as the rest of the song, it's just another fucking snow level theme. And you mix that with everything else that looks like this, and you can understand why my nickname for this section is Fuck No. Alright, let's get this one out of the way. As much as I love the original soundtrack for Donkey Kong Country, Northern Hemisphere and Ice Cave Chant, are you fucking kidding? Absolutely not. I'll be honest, I really like Ice Cave Chant as a song, but it is nowhere close to being a Christmas video game song. Mario Kart has a lot of these. Obviously, you know my opinion already on Frappe Snowland, but you also have DK Pass and Summit, Ice Ice Outpost, GBA Snowland, and Rosalina's Ice World. A few more stragglers I could rattle off are Phanandra Drifts from Metroid Prime, Freeze Flame from Mario Galaxy, Shovel Knight's A Cool Reception, Snow Colt Scuffle from the Cuphead DLC, and obviously Mario 64's Cool Cool Mountain. Obviously, there's a ton of more game themes that I could put into this category, but the ones I've chosen here are commonly roped into those Nintendo Christmas and Winter playlists, and to me encapsulates everything that is the classic snow level that is nowhere being a Christmas song. Now, this section is where things get pretty interesting. For me, these are truly themes that could be easily considered semi-Christmas music, but for one reason or another could also be seen as another basic snow level theme. Let's get these ones out of the way. The snow themes for New Super Mario Bros. Wii, U, and the specialized snow theme for Mario World and Mario Maker 2 could all be considered Christmas video game music, but I feel has way too much of the original song's identity baked into it. See, all three themes are based upon a previous theme, this being the main theme for each respective title, especially the snow rendition of Super Mario World. The regular Mario World theme is downright iconic, so its snow rendition in Mario Maker 2, I hear more of the original theme rather than something more Christmassy. Speaking of winterized themes of other tracks, the Winter Horns theme from Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I really like this track, as well as the Northeast Frost Street from that game, but both are not entirely Christmas tracks. With these two, there's more Christmas than not, but the non-Christmas sections really stand out. Northeast Frost Street definitely takes a few moments to really kick into that Christmas vibe, but when it does, oh my god, it is so good. And let's be honest, Winter Horns works well, but it's too reminiscent of the regular game spanning theme for Kirby in the Forgotten Land. A similar reasoning can easily be given for the winter version of the Animal Crossing track from Mario Kart 8. These themes are just way too much like their original version, leaving me with the feeling of, oh, it's a winterized version of the song rather than it being something entirely unique to the Christmas season. Now, the other songs that fall into the hit or miss category but are not winterized versions of another song are Earthbound Snowman and Freezy Peak from Banjo-Kazooie. Actually, wait a second, fuck that, back to No Fucking Way for you. I think the reason I originally kept Freezy Peak in this section is because of the level it's in, which is based specifically around Christmas, but having a second listen to it, yeah, there's no way I could fairly consider this a hit or miss. Now, Snowman on the other hand, no, not that one, yep, that one, is just such a weird song to place. It does have some of those Christmas vibes, but it's just a little too soft and somber for me to say it's definitively a Christmas song. I actually really like this song, and it's been my go-to for music for when I sleep for about the last month. Truthfully, Earthbound Snowman is closer to actual Christmas music than not, but for me isn't fully there, which is by no means a bad thing, but is truly the main song I think of when I think of game tracks that could be considered Christmas music, but are just not quite enough. Now, I should have probably mentioned this a while ago that most of these opinions are just that, my own fucking opinions. I know that I'm not the end-all be-all of what defines a game track to be a Christmas one or not, but I think many of you will probably agree with most of these tracks being considered actual Christmas tunes. What I think differs these from the last section is that there really is no denying that these are Christmas songs. With these, you can hear them and go, yeah, that's Christmas. Since I ended off the last section with Earthbound, I'm going to start off this section with Earthbound as well. Winter's White to me is the more Christmassy of the two Earthbound tracks here. Rather than this being a more traditional Christmas track like some of the others in this section, Winter's White is more video game music that can easily be listened to during the Christmas season. I know that description is kind of hard to understand at first, but when we look at some of the other tracks here, it begins to make a ton of more sense. I guess the thing about Winter's White is that it is no doubt video game music, but also just as easily Christmas music, you know, for gamers. The same can easily be said for the snow themes for both the original Super Mario Bros. And Mario 3 that come from Mario Maker 2. Now, in all honesty, the Super Mario Bros. Snow theme was very close to not being in this section, but the more I listen to it, it's absolutely a Christmas song just in 8-bit. Now, the Mario 3 snow theme is not only amazing, but also kinda weird. So Mario 3 originally did have a snow world, but the only unique theme was for the overworld, and having listened to it, yeah, absolutely not. And the actual levels in the Iceland world just use the same old Mario 3 theme. So this composition for Mario Maker 2 is completely original, and it is absolutely a Christmas song. To me, out of all the winter themes in Mario Maker 2, Mario 3 snow theme is by far the closest to actual Christmas music that we have, no question about it. You also have Merry Mountain from Wave 3 of the Booster Course Pass, and although it is clear it's orchestral, it's still meant to be a Mario Kart song first and a Christmas song second. It's just that in this particular case, it works extremely well for both. But those three are more video gamey rather than pure Christmas music, and then whatever the fuck you want to call Merry Mountain. However, these last four tracks are not only pure Christmas music, but also the main reason I decided to make this video in the first place, and they all deal with yarn. The Snowy Fields, Cozy Cabin, and Snowland themes from Kirby's Epic Yarn, as well as Yoshi's Woolly World's A Little Light Snowfall, are all what I consider to be the quintessential video game Christmas music. There are so much more than your average snow level theme. Now, I have played Kirby's Epic Yarn, so I know that the snow world in this game has a lot of Christmas theming with it already that just adds to the whole Christmas feel that those songs in particular give off. And as much as I still want to play Woolly World to this day, I still don't own a Wii U, and I don't think the 3DS version of the game does it any justice. As far as I've seen of the actual level that this song appears in, it kinda leans on the Christmas side of things, just not in the way that Kirby's Epic Yarn does. I don't really know how to describe it exactly, but these specific tracks in general just elicit those certain feelings that are consistent with most regular traditional Christmas songs that also elicit those feelings. If there's anything to take away from my ramblings this Christmas, it's that when it comes to Christmas music in particular, it can't always be broken down by a particular science, but rather just as much as by feelings as well. Yes, I will admit, it's an extremely subjective metric, but when it's coming from the guy whose music taste primarily comes from the phrase, "I like the way it sounds," it starts to make a ton of more sense. It's how we're able to have Christmas songs by Bruce Springsteen, No Doubt, and Madonna, and although we tend to think Christmas music must fit within a certain parameter or formula, in reality it really doesn't so long as it gives that certain feeling. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I would like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.